Welcome back to another episode of Diary of an Airstream. You'll remember last time we ended with the basic framework for our bed in place, and now it was time to put the slats in. This is where our mattress is going to lay. We used 1x3 boards for the slats, and they are attached to 2x4s for support. So this is pretty close to what it's going to look like. Now, once we're finished building everything out, this area will be a wall right there. And this area will be a wall right there. So you won't really see anything but like this strip of bed. And we're actually going to build a drawer that goes underneath and slides right there for additional storage. So most of this frame will not be visible at all. But you can see Jared's putting in the hinges in the back right now. And then we also have some hydraulic arms that will attach, that will support the weight of the frame and the mattress. So when you're lifting it up, you're not having to hold that weight above your head. You just have to lift it and then it stays up on its own. Only problem with Jared putting the hinges on is now he's got to get out. And right now this is just balanced on the 2x4, so we don't really trust it for him to get on top of, but you got it, babe.
Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. Yay! Ta-da! Now we just need to add the hydraulic hinges. That's going to be secured farther out.
All right, so let's get into the more interesting aspects of this. So when we walk over to the bed, we just kind of bend down, lift it up. We've got these two gas struts, one on either side. They're 65 pounds a piece in terms of their lifting ability, and so that leaves us about 130 pounds of lifting capacity between the two of them. So it's pretty nice for holding the bed up right now while we're doing work underneath. So I just wanted to go over just a little bit of kind of the design features that we have.
If you're curious about the support for the center of our bed, that center support rests on brackets attached to the headboard and footboard of the frame, and there are also two legs on locking hinges that will support it in the center but lock up out of the way when we need to access our electrical equipment. I don't really have any videos in the next week of work, but it was essentially Jared putting this together, which is our electrical system. We can now officially plug Pauline in and run anything that is wired up, which at the moment is pretty much just the fans. Morning! It has been 2 weeks since I vlogged last, which you don't know that because I just edited it together, so it was like 2 seconds ago. But it's been 2 weeks because we had a week where we stayed home and tried to work on packing up what's left of our house, and then Jared's grandmother retired from her job after 50 years, and so we went to North Texas for the retirement party. But we're back at it this morning, and we are finally working on cabinets. Jared's been working on it all week, and I just wanted to show you one of the many frustrations that he's run into. If you ever wonder why this takes so long, it's because nothing is as straightforward as it seems like it ought to be. Like, we're putting together the cabinet with pocket screws, and our wood is super dry and keeps splitting. So Jared, do you want to show them one of the pieces that split? You can barely see it, but it's right there. So once the screw goes into that gap gets a lot bigger.
It really, like, the reason that I actually noticed that the wood was splitting was because I would put the screw in and then think, how in the world is this board so much wider than the other board? I mean, it's all 3/4 inch plywood, so that was why, was that the wood was actually just splitting.
I mean, you can see a really bad one right here, but I think that one, the screw ripped out too. But now we finally found a technique, and we wanted to share it because when you research online about how to keep wood from splitting, we were already doing all the techniques that they were recommending to help prevent it, you know, clamping and screwing halfway in and coming back out, and basically everything except a pilot hole that we could have to try to avoid doing a pilot hole.
And if you read the tutorials online, they say pretty much a pilot hole is like, don't do it unless you absolutely have to. And apparently we absolutely have to.
So
because that's the only thing that's working.
can you describe what we're doing?
All right, so let's go over here. So I'll just demonstrate on one real quick.
You start by lining up your wood exactly how you're planning to join it, including getting the pieces perfectly flush and then clamping them in place. You'll notice that Jared is clamping the pieces not only towards each other but also top to bottom to help create extra pressure on the layers of the plywood to keep it from splitting. He then takes the electric screwdriver and runs the screws part of the way through the pocket hole until they make a mark on the piece of wood we are joining to. Then he separates the pieces of wood and drills a pilot hole into the spot where the screw marked when he did that initial run. Then he used wood glue to help join the pieces together, put the pocket screws back in the holes, ran them halfway in, halfway back out, again to create that hole, and then finally drove the screws all the way home.
So this is the start of the cabinets right here. So from the bed, working our way forward, this is going to be the closet. We'll have two doors, one on the top, one on the bottom, that'll swing out so we can access all of our clothes here. Will be in this area. Then we built this area, and of course what now we're looking at is just the face frame. We really don't have much else besides this. We got it sitting up on blocks, you'll see, so that's mimicking our toe kick. This is going to be 2 sets of 3 drawers. That's where the bulk of our storage is in the kitchen. Obviously the bottom drawer is not going to be all that much, so really it's going to be these 2 top drawers right there. Next one we're looking at, this is going to be where the kitchen sink is. It's also where we have our furnace, so there's a lot going on in here. We'll have a pump down here. A lot is going on in this area, but this next area that we have is pretty much just going to be trash. Actually, it really
literally
will
and figuratively.
be trash. There's not much use we're going to get out of it, but this top section right here, we'll probably put just like a little sliding trash can. It won't be very deep, obviously, but it's about the only place we could fit one. Where it looks like we could almost have a little bit of space, we actually have, that's where our vents are for our furnace. At least probably it's going to be one of them on this side, 2 of them on the other side. So the bottom area is pretty much just, it's just going to be fake right there. This last section that we're looking at, that's our oven. So we'll have the oven on top, a little drawer
looks like
underneath.
this.
There it is. Yep. Oven on top, drawer underneath, and then we got some wiring that's going to come through right here, and this is going to be the main switches for the Airstream.